Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So for today's video, I'm going to be answering some of your questions about Durham University and also some of the more general questions that people usually have before coming to Durham University. These questions are going to range from what it's like to study here, what it's like to live here, to everything in between. So if you're interested in this, please keep watching. Of course, if you are new here and you do enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel as well. That would make me very happy indeed. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So the first question here is Durham expensive to live in? And basically, this will kind of depend. So of course, if you're a fresher, you're going to be joining university and you're going to be living in halls. So your accommodation will already have been paid for, you know, you'll have got your student loan or paid the fee up front. So that's kind of taken care of already. And yes, it is quite expensive, but you know, most colleges are catered, so you're not going to have to buy lots of food every week because obviously it's included in your fee for college. So in that sense, you know, it's kind of quite a good deal because you're already having a really pricey thing taken care of. On the whole as well, like there's not a lot of things that as a student you're going to need to buy. The library is really well stocked with books, and if you're really organised, you can definitely get in there first and reserve your book and get that, so you won't have to wait for in a really long queue to like borrow it, and then you won't have to buy it either if you're really organised. So in that sense, no, it's not going to be that expensive. However, if you, for example, go out for dinner a lot, because Durham has some really nice restaurants, if you do that with your friends a lot, then maybe it's going to get a little bit more expensive. But on the whole, I wouldn't say Durham is any more or less expensive than any other university really. Yes, the college fees have been progressively going up a little bit each year, and it's because the college can do what they want and no one can really say, oh, you can't do that, because everyone has to live there anyway. So in that sense, yes, it has got a little bit more expensive like that, but it was already the price that it was, so them adding a couple of £100 on or whatever, I mean, in comparison to your whole degree fee, it's not that much really. So I wouldn't say it's massively more expensive or less expensive than any other university. I think it's kind of pretty much the same, pretty much equal to, and on the whole, it is kind of money well spent if you enjoy it and if you get a lot out of your degree. I also mean above and beyond the academic. Yes, of course, university is about embracing your subject, learning and getting a qualification at the end of it, of course, but it's about so much more than that, and it'll only be worth the money if you really max it out and make friends, you know, join societies and develop skills, and then yes, it will be absolutely worth it. Okay, so another question which I had was about what people need to bring with them to university, and because this is quite a big question, I am actually going to film a completely separate video about this because there are quite a lot of things you need to bring. But one person in particular did ask about bedding, and they asked about like pots and pans, and they said they were going to basically bring their entire room with them because they didn't know what exactly they needed and they didn't want to leave anything behind. And what I'd say is with soft furnishings and stuff, I think like maybe it's alright to bring a few. Like you want it to be a home away from home. You do not want your uni room to feel barren and bare because they're pretty basic. But on the other hand, you don't want to overstuff your luggage, especially if you're an EU student and coming over from abroad, because otherwise you're going to have so much extra baggage and you really don't need to be lugging that. College itself will provide you with basics. It'll provide you with like cushions and pillows, and obviously your bedding it'll already be on. However, I personally took my own because I wanted like really nice bedding, like really soft bedding, but I understand that that's not going to be feasible for the people who are travelling over. So don't worry, you can definitely just go to, there's a shop called The Range and there's a big Tesco as well, and these are both located in a place called Gilesgate, and that's only about a 10-minute bus journey away from the city centre, and there you'll find everything you need to make your room super cozy, super snug, and really aesthetically pleasing. Place that of course you're going to be happy to spend lots of time. A few people also asked if they needed to bring like cooking utensils and pots and pans and stuff. And again, unless you're at Josephine Butler or part of Cuths that is not catered, you won't need to bring any of this stuff because of course your meals are going to be catered for. So you definitely don't need to lug pans and stuff with you. Of course, I would recommend bringing a mug or two. I personally love tea. I could not be without tea. I have many cups of tea every day, and if you also have many cups of tea or coffee, or you know that in the morning as soon as you get up you will not be able to function without some caffeine in your system, please remember to bring some mugs, because obviously whilst you're in your room there is a kitchen on your corridor. You can absolutely make yourself tea and stuff, and you will need to bring a cup for that. So definitely do bring some basics like a cup and like maybe a teaspoon or something. But for like bigger things, you definitely don't need to, because that's all provided down in the dining hall. So please don't lug loads of like unnecessary kitchen bits and bobs with you, because that's all catered for you, and honestly, your luggage can do without it. So I got this question here about colleges, and it says, do different colleges have different types of people attending them? And I think that the answer to this is, on the whole, no. Like, across every single college, the people are pretty much the same. You know, everyone's academic, everyone's really smart, clever, driven. They've done really well in their A-levels, of course, to get there. But do certain stereotypes actually attend different colleges? There are maybe like a few, but none of them are like really, really terrible, so don't worry about that. So basically, Castle College, as of course you will see, is absolutely beautiful, and it's renowned for having like some of the posh people there, and also people who got like loads of A stars, for example. And sometimes that is true a little bit, but like it's not exclusively true. It's not going to only have those people in. Plus, everyone's clever at Durham, so please don't feel like inferior or anything like that if you aren't at that college, because everyone is equal. And also, like, colleges like Hatfield are renowned for having like a lot of people who've been to private school or boarding school, and it kind of has like a bit of a like boarding school look to it in some ways, because it's very old-fashioned and traditional. But again, it has a mixture, so please don't feel like if you're there and that's not like your background that you're not going to fit in, because you absolutely will. And likewise, I think Collingwood, people say lots of sporty people go there, and it is true, but maybe that's just because Collingwood is such a big college. It just has the potential to have more sporty people in it, because more people in general attend. So again, just a few of the stereotypes that run around Durham, but absolutely nothing to be worried about, because of course every single college has a cross section. Every college across the board will have a mixture of every different type of person. You do not need to feel any sort of way about it. It's all going to be a good experience, don't you worry. Someone asked me about the university at exam time and the library, and what it's like in the library. Is it like a good place to study at exam time, or if it's like really, really overcrowded? And for this question, I would definitely say around exam time, Bill Bryson becomes incredibly busy, but that's obviously to be expected. Everyone is prepping for their exams. But this can mean that it can be very difficult to find a seat, and especially if you like to study with like a friend or two, it can be a little bit difficult sometimes to actually find a space that's big enough for everyone. So for this, my tip would be definitely get there early, because then you'll have the opportunity to, you know, get a seat first. Or of course, pick different places to study. I feel like it's more of a relaxing experience to study in different places. Personally, I did like the library sometimes. Sometimes I studied at home. Sometimes I studied in college, because every college has a college library as well. Or of course, a more kind of really chill and relaxing and also really aromatic place to study is of course a coffee shop. So that's a really nice option as well. And it has like a different vibe when you go to a coffee shop. I just feel like, you know, you can get your favorite beverage, you can sit with your friends, you can stop and talk for a little bit, and no one's gonna like give you side eye saying like, why are you talking? We're all trying to study. So if you want like a slightly more relaxed place, definitely do try out a few of the coffee shops. Some of the really nice ones for that would be Flat White is really nice, and also Cafe Nero is really good for studying as well, and it's got a beautiful view of the river. So that's just a couple of the ones that you could choose for studying. But you know, when you first start in September, October, that's going to be a long way off the exam time, so you don't need to even think about that. But you know, if you like to forward plan, there are a couple of my tips. Another question that a lot of people often have before coming to Durham is they wonder if they should bring their bicycle with them, so they can cycle from college to lectures and tutorials, or from college to Maiden Castle, which is the sports centre, so they can do their sport. And personally, I wouldn't cycle in Durham. The roads are quite busy and everything is very easy to walk to. There's nothing that's further than like a 35-minute walk. So personally, I would 100% just walk for, you know, ease and also safety reasons. So that's personally what I would do. A few people do cycle, but if you're not sure and you feel like bringing your bicycle is actually going to be a bit of a hardship anyway, don't worry about it. Just leave it at home. And honestly, you can definitely walk everywhere that you need to go in Durham. Another question that a lot of people often have before coming to Durham is they wonder if they should bring their bicycle with them, so they can cycle from college to lectures and tutorials, or from college to Maiden Castle, which is the sports centre, so they can do their sport. And personally, I wouldn't cycle in Durham. The roads are quite busy and everything is very easy to walk to. There's nothing that's further than like a 35-minute walk, so personally I would 100% just walk for, you know, ease and also safety reasons. So that's personally what I would do. A few people do cycle, but if you're not sure and you feel like bringing your bicycle is actually going to be a bit of a hardship anyway, don't worry about it, just leave it at home, and honestly you can definitely walk everywhere that you need to go in Durham. Lots of people also wonder, are there a lot of balls and formal events at Durham University, or is this just a myth and legend? And the truth is, yes, there are a lot of balls and formals, which are formal dinners on an evening. Every single college does them. Some colleges do them more often than others. So for example, Castle College, I believe, does them twice a week, which is very frequent. So you could definitely go to a Castle College formal if you get a friend that goes to Castle, or of course if you go to Castle College, you'll definitely get to go to lots and lots of formals, and they're the really traditional ones as well. So you get to wear a gown, which is like so much fun. It's so much fun to dress up in a gown. You find a friend that goes to Castle College, then yes, lots of formals up for grabs for you. And all the other colleges also have lots of formals and balls as well. So for formals, you've got to sign up online, and sometimes if it's going to be a really good formal, like say there's a fancy dress theme, or if it's going to have a really cool ball after it and disco, there's like a sign up process, and to get a place you've got to sign up really quickly, and then it's like a first come first serve. But then the first lot of people who get in, not everyone will pay. So you missed out by like a millisecond and someone doesn't pay and you were next on the list, you would get their space, and if you pay then you get to go. And that's kind of like how it's organised, because sometimes not everyone can go to every single formal because there's just not enough space, because the formals are not just for freshers, they're for like everyone at the college who is in every single year. So basically everyone will be like able to sign up. And I think at the very start though, there is one freshers formal at each college, so that one will be just for freshers, so you'll definitely get to experience at least one in first term if you want to. And the biggest ball that each college does is usually in the last term, in the summer term. There'll be like a summer ball, and often this is held either at the college grounds if you're at quite a big college, or sometimes the college will decide to have it at a different establishment, which is like a manor house or like a country park area. So some colleges, I went to a few, there's one at a place called Hardwick Hall that's really nice. They do really good balls there, and they also hire like lots of ents, so the college will get ents. So I used to do the belly dancing society, and the belly dancing society used to get to go to so many balls. So I went to a ball at basically every single college. Did the fashion shows. The fashion show is also an amazing thing. That one is, so each college again does a fashion show, but there's a main university-wide fashion show as well. And that one is like a little bit more difficult to get a ticket for, and that one's like a really big event, and that one is like a black tie one, and honestly such a brilliant experience. Definitely go if you get the opportunity to, because it's so much fun. It's definitely a night you'll remember. Another question which I got here was, I've heard that people sign their second year houses within the first few weeks of freshers term. Is this true? And what I would say to this is yes and no, it depends. Some people find a group of friends basically straight away and they're super happy with each other, and within, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, they've signed their house for second year. And what I would say is, if you make a group of friends, say it's like people in your corridor or other people at your college, and you just like, you know that you've gelled perfectly, you know that you're all really similar, you also haven't fallen out at all, there's not been any like silly little tiffs over little things, then I would be like, okay, that's absolutely fine. Like, you've made a solid group of friends, go for it. However, if you are with a group of people that you're not really sure about, and you just feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna get left, I don't wanna like sign a house, or not sign a house, I don't wanna like not sign one and be left like on my own, so to speak, pause. You need to pause, because basically you need to make sure that you're signing a house with people you can definitely trust, definitely can compromise with, and definitely foresee living with for a whole academic year. You don't want to sign too quickly and be too hasty with it, and then resent the fact that you're going to be living with people that you realise you don't really gel well with. Because what I would definitely say, and I would say this is really important advice, would be, if people will not compromise with you on small things, good luck getting them to compromise on bigger things. So if things go wrong at the house, or you have, for example, say you have labs and they want to have a house party, and you're like, oh guys, I really need to like study this week. If they won't compromise on like little things during like when you first met them about like which night out you go to or whatever, they're not going to compromise on other things like that later down the line. So please be really mindful. This is why it's a super important idea to get to know lots of different people at college, get to know people on your course as well, because often, a lot of the time, people actually sign a house second year with people who are from their course. It doesn't have to be people from college. Obviously, I know you'll be meeting people at college and spending a lot more time with them usually, because obviously you're living there and having all your meals there, but it doesn't have to be this way. So definitely make sure that you vibe well with each other before committing to living with them for a full year, because you want to enjoy the experience. Living out can be expensive. This is another thing which kind of links to my first question. The expense of living in Durham will vary depending on which area of Durham you live in. So a lot of students live in a place called the Viaduct, and this is near the train station, and it's known for being quite reasonably priced in comparison to certain other places, because some places that are like really close to where the lessons would be are like more expensive basically. So there's a place called Winnie Hill in Durham, and that can be really expensive even though the houses are like, you know, they're pretty old. The rent is really expensive because they're kind of in a really convenient place, whereas with the Viaduct, the Viaduct's like an extra 20 minutes walk, so it means the rent is slightly cheaper. But yeah, again, I would definitely say, I feel like this question is evolving, but definitely also check out your house at different times of the day. Like, go during the day, go in the evening, just to make sure it all looks good and is as it seems. Don't just like see a picture online and be like, yeah, I'll have it on sign for that one. You definitely need to check it out thoroughly with your housemates, because you also need to make sure that your landlord is nice and like easy to deal with, because sometimes they can be a little bit difficult. So just definitely suss it all out and be very thorough, because you can't be too careful with this type of thing, and you want to make sure the house is exactly what you want it to be, so choose it carefully. I've also had quite a few people saying that they're really nervous about joining college and attending Durham. Maybe people don't really know if they're going to make any friends or how they're going to gel with people that they're put in a corridor with. So for this, I would say a few things. So when I joined as a fresher, before going to college in September, we had to fill out a like a personality questionnaire, and it's basically about things like your likes and dislikes, if you like clubbing, if you would say you're like a loud person, a shy person, and all these different types of like character traits. And what I would definitely say is, please fill this out honestly. Like, you obviously you're going to a new place, nobody knows you, you can be whoever you want to be, but you know what your real character is. And if you know that you hate clubbing, please don't put, yeah, I love clubbing, or don't even be impartial. Don't even put the middle answer saying, yeah, I like it like averagely, because if you know you hate it, be truthful, because you'll be put on a corridor with people who either averagely like it if you put that, or who love it if you say like you love it. And when I mean you'll be put with people that say they love it, I mean they love it. There are some corridors in certain colleges that are renowned for being like sesh corridors. I remember at Mary's, there's Mary's split into different buildings, and there's a building called Williamson, and there's a specific corridor in Williamson that the party people were specifically put on. Now, I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but it worked out that way in my year. And if you're really quiet and you don't like clubbing, you would not want to be on that corridor. Or if you do like clubbing, that is the corridor for you. So please be honest when you fill this out. This will be the first step of ensuring that you're actually placed with people that you will gel well with, and that you know you'll get on easily with. You won't have to be like forcing your personality to be something it isn't, and you won't have to be feeling uncomfortable going out on nights out that you never wanted to attend, or not being able to go out on nights out if you do want to attend, obviously. So definitely fill that out honestly. And then what I would also say is like worrying that you're not going to gel well with people. Very normal thing to be concerned about. Obviously everyone's a bit nervous if they're just starting somewhere brand new, but please don't be too worried, because trust me, everyone is in the same boat. Everybody feels like this, and you are definitely not alone. So just be mindful of that and know that everything's going to be fine. And to make sure that you do gel well with people, I would say talk to everybody. Talk to everyone that you meet at college. Make sure that you talk to people at breakfast, lunch, dinner, different people. It does not have to be just people that you're living with on the corridor. I would highly advise just intermingling, attending different society taster sessions to meet a different variety of people as well. And then by doing so, you will absolutely get an understanding and feeling for who you gel well with from your college. And this will be really a significant step to making sure that you make lots of really good lifelong friends. So that's going to conclude today's video. And of course, if you do have any other questions related to Durham University or anything else to do with university, any other university, that's fine. Drop them down in the comment section and I'll absolutely answer those for you. and I hope that this was informative and give you a little bit more insight into what it's like at Durham. If of course you are new here, please do remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and do subscribe to my channel as well down below. That would make me very happy indeed. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon in a brand new video. Bye!